Welcome back to Matt's Model Shop. Wait, that's the wrong one. Hold on. There we go. That's the right one. Anyway, I'm back on the saucer, as I told you in the last episode. Right now I've got everything all powered up, and I've got impulse engines in, and the impulse crystal. The impulse crystal is a bicolor LED that does amber and blue, and then the impulse engines are the red. Now the reason you can't see through right now is I still have these masked off from when I painted it, and it looks like I've got a little bit more to do right here. Got a little light leak, so I'll have to take care of that. But once I pull off the mask, it'll shine through. One of my little tricks that I've used for a long time is putting a little bit of cotton in there to diffuse it. That tends to work pretty good. I've done that. I did that with my last one, and I did it with my Toss Enterprise as well in the Bassards. It works really good to kind of diffuse LEDs and make them look more like a kind of a hot spot rather than an LED shining at plastic. So that's kind of what I've been shooting for. But once I get that done, this whole area will be ready. I actually also have the blue. The blue is wired to this one right here. If I remove the yellow and pop the blue in, the yellow actually powers the impulse engines and the amber. So if I kick it over to the blue, the impulse engines will go off and the amber will turn blue. So that's kind of what we want, because the blue signifies my warp set, or my warp circuit. My brain. And then the yellow is my impulse circuit. So I'll have a little switch on the base where you can switch between the two. So when you hit the warp circuit, this will come on, the blue will come on here, impulse engines will go out, and the warp engines on the warp nacelles will come on. And when you kick it the other way, the warp engines will go dark, the impulse engines will come on, and this will glow amber. And the deflector dish will also glow amber or blue, depending upon which mode you're in too. So that's kind of the whole idea behind that. So the other thing that I've done is I use some hot glue to glue all these down. I really recommend when you're using the Arduino that if you get it to the point where you're gluing it down, to just tack all of the connectors down, because they do like to come off when you really, really don't want them to, and that's bad. It would really stink for one of your LEDs to suddenly go dark because it just came unplugged inside the ship. So and then once I get all this done and figured out where everything's going to be, I'll probably tack it down kind of right here in this area away from the pin. I don't want it over the pin area, but I kind of want it over here. So I'll tack it down with hot glue right there, and it'll be out of the way and have plenty of space for it. So the other things, let's see, what else do I need to do in here? I need to light the lower sensor dome. The lower sensor dome is a little tricky. Here, I've been working on it just a little bit. The reason it's a little bit tricky is because normally what I would do if I was doing a high-end build is I would put SMDs at each of the spotlights in order to try to get them to light up the whole saucer when it's dark. But in this case, since all I'm doing is kind of a budget out of the box build, what I was thinking of doing was just putting one larger LED in here just to light them all up. I've also thought about putting one LED in the front to kind of give it a little bit of a spotlight, and then one kind of back here to light up the rest. I'm going to play with that a little bit and see how it looks. Just to kind of get some ideas. I don't want to go crazy with this one, because the whole idea was to keep it simple. So the big problem that you have is that these pins are in the way. You can hack them out of the way, but then that kind of makes the whole idea of it being simple, go away. So I'm going to play with that a little bit and see what the best way to do that is. But otherwise, once those are done, the saucer will be ready to mount. So actually what I'm going to do in this case, I'm going to paint it first. Actually going to take a note from TrekWorks here and actually paint the saucer on the outside before I glue it together. And the reason being is I want to get some nice clean lines where the rec deck goes and where the officer's lounge goes, instead of having to mask it all and be really careful. I'd much rather just have it all painted before I glue it together and then only have to mess with the seam. We'll see how that goes. The last time I did it, I glued it all together and then painted it, and that worked okay. But this time, I'd like to try to, be smarter about it, and see if I can do it a little bit easier. So we'll try it both ways, and we'll see how it goes. So, or we'll try it this way, and we'll see how it goes. So anyway, I'll be back in a little bit. We'll see how much further I can get on it. Maybe I can actually start some of the painting and things. Or I'll actually, before I do that, I need to get on the lower sensor dome, so I'll probably do that first. And then we'll do some painting, so stick around. I'll be right back. Hello again, everyone. So I've decided to start putting the lower sensor dome on now that the top saucer is pretty much almost done, or ready to mount anyway. It needs painted and a little light blocking and stuff like that. But on this piece here, which goes down here, I was opting to put some light bulbs in to try to, or some LEDs, regular LEDs in instead of SMDs to keep things simple, but I found that it lit up best when you had 4, and in order to put 4, I had to cut off the pins. So I just cut off the pins. What I did was I marked exactly where it goes, so you can see that just by lining it up real nice and easy, you can get it so that it's exactly where it was before I cut the pins off. So I'm going to go ahead and hot glue the LEDs to the dome, and then I can mount the dome and glue it down, and we should have a really great looking dome with lighting projecting out on each of the sides of the saucer. So it's a pretty easy way to do it. What I did was I took 4 LEDs, here's 2 of them, but I put wires on the ends and soldered them together at the ends there. So all I have to do is have one aiming each direction, and then going out the hole in the center. I actually drilled a hole right in the center there, so you can see. So all of the wiring will go down that way, and you can kind of finagle it to make it so that it'll all fit inside this lid. So before I glue it down, I'll kind of show you what I've done, so that if you're wanting to follow along, you can easily do it. So I'll be back in a minute. I lied. I've actually already glued it all down. All of the LEDs are in it, and they're all aimed, and everything is glued down. I actually put a little bead of tulip all the way around to eliminate any of the light leaks. And it actually projects very well in all the different directions. It looks pretty good. What I did wind up having to do, though, was where the pins were, I had to use my sanding drum on my Dremel to grind them all down flush, so that when I glued the LEDs down, the LEDs didn't, pry up the dome and make it not fit properly. But there it is on, and I might have a couple more leaks, but as I go, I'll be sure to plug them. Tulip is great for that. And somebody did mention that they didn't know what it was. This is it. Tulip Slick. I got it at Michael's. It was $3 or $4. This stuff is great. Light does not get through it. But there we go. I do have some light leaking through the plastic a little bit where the paint didn't quite get it. So I'll hit it with some gray primer and see if that fixes it. I might have to put a little black on some of these spots, but it shouldn't be any big deal to get it covered. But yeah, it projects really. I mean, you get a real nice spotlight with these 3mm LEDs. So I put one aiming out each direction, and they all kind of meet in the middle and go down and out. So that turned out pretty good. So the next time you see this, I'm going to have it primed and ready for takeoff. So I will be back shortly. Okay, and here we are all primed. I used gray primer because it helps with light blocking quite a bit. So I just did this about 30 minutes ago. It needs a little bit of wet sanding, as you can see. But it seems to have done a pretty good job of light blocking. There's a little bit ghosting through in a couple of the spots. Mostly right here in these spots. So what I'll have to do is go over it with just a little bit of black and hit those areas, and then redo it, and it should be good. So you can see it coming through right there. So those little spots are always a little bit of a pain. So we'll get those blocked, and I'll go over it with the tulip again one more time and block out the rest of any spots that I missed. And we should be good to go with this thing. So it's actually looking pretty sharp. I think we're getting to the point where I'm going to be able to put some white on it and hit it with the pearl white, and then we can start looking at buttoning this thing up. So I think this is probably, I haven't put up a video in forever, and I apologize for that. Again, I've been very, very busy with work, so I'm trying to keep the modeling going, but it's difficult when you get home and you've worked all day and you're like, I don't want to do anything. So I'm trying to get back into it as much as I can. So we will see how it goes. But for right now, anyway, we're almost done with the saucer, and once the saucer's all painted up and I've got got it ready to button up, then I'll start building the nacelles. The nacelles are my least favorite part on this whole thing to build for several reasons. One of which is I really hate painting the chiller grills. That's my favorite thing in the whole world. So to those of you who haven't done this and have problems painting things like that, well, welcome to the club. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, get this video up, and we'll be back next time with even more adventures of building this Widowmaker. So I hope this series has been of interest to you, and thanks a lot for watching.